tonight. Vice President Vance will host key members of the administration to discuss whether or not to release the tapes of Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell's interview last month. The Attorney General, FBI Director, and others will attend.
Behind the scenes, there have been some conversations, these officials tell me more preliminary, about having Blanche do a press conference or even appear for a high-profile interview, including possibly with Joe Rogan. Again, they say that that is not decided.
Well, the Trump administration was supposed to come together for a dinner at JD Vance's residence tonight to try to get on the same page after weeks of inconsistent messaging regarding the Jeffrey Epstein files. And then they engaged in more inconsistent messaging with Vice President Vance outright denying that the dinner is even taking place. Now, before we get to the denials, let's get to the details of this original CNN report, which Fox News also had confirmed, by the way. So the dinner was supposed to include Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Vice President JD Vance, FBI Director Kash Patel, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. And they were expected to discuss whether or not to release transcripts of the audio recording of Blanche's recent interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, the Justice Department has reportedly been digitizing, transcribing, and redacting more than 10 hours of interview material as they decide if and when to publicly release the information. Now, one official told CNN that some of the conversation within the White House has focused on whether making the details from the interview public would bring the Epstein controversy back to the surface. It never left, okay? Many officials close to Trump believe the story has largely died down. I would disagree with that entirely. Now, yesterday, Trump defended Blanche's recent interview with Maxwell and made a curious comment about protecting people who aren't involved with Epstein. Let's take a look.
Were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department?
I didn't know about it at all. No, I read about it just like you did.
And do you believe that she is?
It's not a very uncommon thing.
Do you believe that she's credible to be listening to? Your Deputy Attorney General sat down with her recently.
Well, let me tell you, he's a very talented man. His name is Todd Blanche. He's a very legitimate person, very high, I just a very highly thought of person, respected by everybody. And I didn't talk to him about it, but I will tell you that whatever he asked would be totally appropriate, and it's not an uncommon thing to do that. And I think he probably wants to make sure that, people that should not be involved or aren't involved are not hurt by something that would be very, very unfortunate, very unfair to a lot of people.
Right. I mean, Trump does have a great track record at protecting people who might be wrongly accused or wrongly smeared. He really doesn't want innocent people to be hurt in any way, shape, or form. He cares about that deeply. Anyway, Cenk, what do you think?
Yeah, no, it's over. What I mean by that is that means Ghislaine Maxwell gave no helpful testimony at all. It's a cover your ass procedure here. And so here's why, guys. So first of all, they're considering releasing the tapes. That means that the tapes helped Donald Trump. There's no way in the world they would even talk about releasing the tapes if they didn't help Donald Trump.
ABC News sources say that Ghislaine Maxwell did not say anything incriminating about Trump during her interview.
Of course, and and it didn't say anything true probably. Like it's not if she implicated the CIA or Mossad. It's not like they're like, oh yeah, we're considering releasing them. There's no chance. So it's going to be useless crap to help Trump, and that's why she was immediately after getting that testimony, she was moved to a minimum security prison. But the one that Trump talking about how Blanche did a terrific job, that means he got what he wanted out of the Maxwell interview. But the last part that you saw in that video is the nail in the coffin. He's like, this is gonna help protect the people who were wrongly criticized. That was very unfair. Okay, so you weren't trying to get information to use against clients who did the rape. You were trying to get information to actually protect people who were part of the Epstein list. Okay,
yeah.
So not useless, counterproductive.
So people aren't buying it, and that's according to polling. So suspicious comments like what you just heard from Trump is probably why. And so according to the polling, 63% of Americans think the Trump administration is hiding information on the Epstein case. I mean, because they literally are.
Obviously.
Then you have 67% saying that Trump was once good friends with Epstein.
Well, I mean, that's 100, should be 100%.
Yep.
The other 33% just don't know.
And 71% say a list of Epstein's clients exists, according to a UMass Amherst poll. Those are the results of the UMass Amherst poll.
But mainstream media says that's a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Every article mentions it as a conspiracy theory.
Now, as I've said a billion times before on this show in regard to the Epstein files, I actually care less about Trump or, other individuals who might be implicated. I mean, I definitely want to know if you have people in our government who are literally disgusting predators and pedophiles. But what matters even more to me, right, is whether or not you have individuals in our government who have carried out those disgusting acts, and they're currently in power without any worry because they're providing cover for a foreign government that has that blackmail against them.
Yeah, look, but that's by far the most important. Look, is it deeply problematic if our government is covering up for the crimes of very powerful Democrats and Republicans? Yes, hugely problematic, right? But what's a lot more problematic is if they're covering up for the abuses of the CIA or Mossad. Because if they're doing that, they're betraying the country.
Yes.
They're saying that means one of the intelligence agencies organized a ring where underage girls would get raped. They knew it, they organized it, they orchestrated it, they taped it, and they used it as blackmail for their own purposes. If you're covering that up, that's a thermonuclear situation. And that's why both Democrats and Republicans, and Democrats who hate Donald Trump, couldn't find Trump's name on the list when it's on there hundreds of times. Again, doesn't mean he did it, but he's enormously good friends with Epstein, so he's keep popping up in all day counts of the victims. Oh, I saw Trump, etc., right? And so again, doesn't mean he did it. But the Democrats didn't use that against Trump.
No, they didn't.
Come on.
It's a distraction, Jake.
Oh yeah, come on.
Just a distraction.
Come on.
Just a distraction.
And then now Trump has the list of like Bill Clinton and the Democrats, and he's not using it?
I know.
Oh, come on. Nobody believes that. It's the intelligence agencies. And so this disgusting situation is a crime against America.
So real quick, going back to the dinner that may or may not happen tonight. So now the family of Epstein and Maxwell victim Virginia, I never know how to pronounce her name correctly.
Giuffre.
Yes, so Virginia Giuffre, she's a victim of both Epstein and Maxwell. And so her family members have come forward issuing a statement arguing that survivors should also be invited to this planning meeting with Trump administration officials. Let's take a look at that.
They say that they understand that the Vice President, J.D. Vance, is holding a strategy session this evening at his residence. They say, quote, missing from this group is, of course, any survivor of the vicious crimes of convicted perjurer and sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. They say their voices must be heard above all. And we also call upon the House subcommittee to invite survivors to testify. Now, that last notable because also we've seen how House Republicans have been handling this, calling on the DOJ to release the Epstein documents with a subpoena coming out from the House Oversight Chair James Comer yesterday. They are just saying essentially that in the terms of how the administration is handling this and also how Congress is handling this, that what is important to listen to here are the survivors and are the victims in all of this. And they say that that should be included as the administration is plotting what their next move is going to look like.
And oh wow, would you look at that? Now it appears that maybe this dinner isn't happening after all, because according to J.D. Vance, there will be no meeting. William Martin, Vance's communications director, says the CNN story is pure fiction. There was never a supposed meeting scheduled at the vice president's residence to discuss Epstein's strategy, even though Fox News also reported the same thing. Oops. Now, finally, I just want to touch on the possibility of the Trump administration unsealing grand jury transcripts from the Epstein case. Amid public pressure for more transparency, the DOJ asked 2 federal judges in New York to unseal the grand jury transcripts in the Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein cases. And according to a new court filing, much of what the DOJ wants the judge to unseal from the Ghislaine Maxwell grand jury investigation is already publicly known, so we wouldn't be learning anything new. But on Monday, the court revealed letters from 2 anonymous Epstein victims who actually criticized the Trump administration's approach and accused them of failing to prioritize Epstein's victims. Take a look.
Notably, neither of these victims opposes releasing this material, but what they're asking for is to make sure that victims are protected. They write, quote, "Why not be completely transparent? Show us all the files with only the necessary redactions. Be done with it and allow us/me to heal." Now, they're also criticizing the government for what they say is a lack of respect shown to victims, writing, quote, "I feel like the DOJ's and FBI's priority is protecting the third party, the wealthy men, by focusing on scrubbing their names off of files of which the victims know who they are." They directly called out President Trump here, alleging that he was using thousands of agents to protect his identity and those of other wealthy, high-profile individuals. They also took aim at the current Justice Department, saying that it appears that it is more interested in talking with Ghislaine Maxwell, a quote, "convicted imprisoned sex trafficker," than in speaking with victims.
I would like Steve Bannon to release his hours of interviews with Jeffrey Epstein. We might be able to learn something through that. I don't know why there's no pressure for him to do so. But one of the victims also wrote in her letter to the judge overseeing the case, "Dear United States, I wish you would have handled and would handle the whole Epstein files with more respect towards and for the victims. I am not some pawn in your political warfare. What you have done and continue to do is eating at me day after day as you help to perpetuate this story indefinitely." Now, interestingly, both of the victims also expressed obvious skepticism that Epstein died by suicide. Cenk.
Yeah, this is why Americans have lost faith in their institutions. It's not complicated. Every time a poll like that comes out, mainstream media is like, I don't get it. What's going on? There's something wrong here. Yeah, what's wrong is there's cover up after cover up, and it's super obvious. You've got victims who are underage girls here. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about American citizens, okay? Oh, you're gonna get devastated by a hurricane? Oh, well, don't boycott Israel. Like, come on, right? There's 1,000 examples. You're not allowed to negotiate drug prices. What is that? That doesn't even make any sense. But no, everything's fine, nothing to see here. Just move along, cattle. And by the way, we're gonna steal all your houses soon, and private equity is gonna buy them all. And you're all gonna be renters and indentured servants, and you're gonna serve the powerful, and we're never gonna give you justice. I don't know why they lost faith in institutions. It's so complicated, no one can figure it out, including any of the journalists in media. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.